You weren't meant to carry it all alone. Have you ever told yourself, I should be able to handle this? I shouldn't need anyone. If I were stronger, I wouldn't feel this way. If so, you're not alone. And maybe that's the very wound that needs your attention. From the time we're little, most of us are taught some version of the same story. Be strong, be independent, don't ask for too much, don't rely on anyone. And so we learn to hold it all inside. We grow up believing that needing help makes us weak, that expressing emotion is too much, that the goal is to always have it together. But here's the truth. You weren't meant to carry it all alone. You are a human being, not a machine. You were born for connection, for comfort, for community. The nervous system itself is wired for co-regulation. We literally calm down in the presence of someone safe. It's not weakness, it's biology. As the author Glennon Doyle says, being human is not about being invincible. It's about being soft and strong at the same time. Somewhere along the way, though, we started confusing self-reliance with self-abandonment. We started confusing emotional suppression with emotional maturity. But here's a gentle reminder. You don't have to be a hero to be lovable. You don't have to be self-sufficient to be worthy. In fact, the bravest thing you might ever do is to say, I'm not okay. To whisper, I need help. To let someone in. Psychologist Carl Rogers once wrote, when someone really hears you without judgment, without trying to change you, it feels damn good. That's the kind of space we all long for. Not to be fixed, but to be felt. Not to be advised, but to be held. So let me ask you, who taught you that being strong means being silent? Who told you that needing love makes you fragile? Because here's what's more true than that. We were never meant to do life alone. Healing happens in safe presence. Strength grows in shared silence. Freedom begins when you stop pretending you're okay, just to make others comfortable. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke once wrote, be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart. Try to love the questions themselves. And maybe one of the most important questions is, what would it look like if you gave yourself permission to need others, without shame? Imagine that for a moment. Imagine a world where leaning into each other wasn't a burden, but a blessing. Imagine a self that's no longer trying to prove anything, but simply learning how to receive. Let that vision soften you, because this isn't a message of defeat. It's a call back to wholeness. You don't have to be the one who always holds it together. You don't have to be the strong one all the time. You don't have to carry the world alone. You just have to be willing to be real. Comment below. I give myself permission to not carry it all alone anymore. Let that be your first brave step back toward the truth. You are not a burden. You are not too much. You are just human. And that is more than enough. Your emotions are not a weakness. Let me begin with something the world rarely says out loud. Your emotions are not a weakness. They are evidence that you're alive. Not broken, not dramatic, not flawed, but alive, and still capable of feeling. In a world that glorifies staying strong, we're often taught to mistrust our own feelings. We're told to push past the sadness, to rationalize the anger, to hide the anxiety, to smile, especially when it hurts the most. But here's the truth. Your emotions are not problems to solve. They are messengers. Each one carries a sacred invitation, an inner whisper saying, hey, slow down. Something inside you wants to be seen. Psychologist Carl Jung once, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And what is more unconscious in our modern world than our buried emotions? How often have you smiled when you wanted to scream? nodded when you wanted to say no, held it together when all you wanted was someone to notice you were falling apart. We've become masters at managing appearances, but strangers to our own inner life. Let's try something radical for a moment. What if anger isn't the enemy? What if sadness isn't shameful? What if anxiety isn't a disorder, but a desperate attempt by your nervous system to protect you? The poet Khalil Gibran wrote, "Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding." In other words, feeling deeply is not something to run from. It's something to listen to. Your anger? It might be a buried boundary asking to be honored. Your grief? A lost part of you still holding love. Your weariness? A signal that something or someone is costing you too much. You don't need to fix these emotions. You need to feel them. Because every feeling you suppress doesn't disappear. It stores. In the body, in the mind, in your relationships, until it finds a way to ask again, will you finally hear me? In trauma healing, there's a concept called completion. It means that unprocessed emotion will keep seeking closure until it is witnessed, expressed, and released. So when you cry out of nowhere or rage in ways you can't explain, it's not regression. It's your body remembering. Dr. Gabor Mate puts it simply. The attempt to escape from pain is what creates more pain. So maybe the invitation today is to stop escaping, to pause, to breathe, to sit with the discomfort, not as an enemy, but as a guide. The secondary you to reviving service, you don't need more motivation. You need more self-permission, permission to feel, permission to slow down, permission to say, I don't have to be okay all the time. Because the more honest you are with what's real inside you, the closer you come to what's true about you. Emotions aren't obstacles on the path to healing, they are the path. And when you learn to walk beside them instead of running ahead of them, that's when something begins to shift. That's when the body softens, the heart opens, the inner child exhales. So today, I invite you to sit with whatever's rising, not to fix it, not to fight it, but simply to say, I see you. I'm listening. Comment below. My emotions are not weakness. They are wisdom in motion. Let that be your truth today. Because real strength isn't pretending you don't feel. It's feeling. Without shame. Tears don't make you weak. They make you human. There's something we've been taught, quietly, subtly, almost without words, that crying means losing control, that tears are embarrassing, that to be strong is to hold it all in. But what if we've been taught wrong? Let me offer you this truth. Tears don't make you weak. They make you human. Every tear you've ever shed was not a sign of failure. It was a release, a letting go, a sacred moment when your body spoke the truth your mouth was too tired to say. You see, tears aren't random. They're not just water falling from your eyes. They are emotional alchemy, the body's natural way of saying, I can't carry this in silence anymore. Psychologist Judith Orloff writes, tears are a sign of the soul overflowing with feeling. Suppressing them keeps the pain locked inside. Think about it. Have you ever felt lighter after crying? Not because the situation changed, but because you did. The pain was honored. The energy moved. The truth was acknowledged. That is not weakness. That's courage. In fact, neuroscientists have found that emotional tears contain stress hormones, meaning your body literally detoxifies itself through crying. It's not just psychological. It's physiological. Tears are healing, but we live in a world that rewards stoicism and punishes sensitivity, especially for men, for leaders, for those told to be the strong one. But true strength is not in your ability to hide emotion. It's in your ability to hold it with compassion, without shame. The poet Nayyirah Waheed said, cry, forgive, learn, move on. Let your tears water the seeds of your future happiness. Tears are not setbacks, they are signals, and sometimes, a single tear can say what 1,000 words never could. So, let me ask you, when was the last time you allowed yourself to cry, without apologizing? When was the last time you honored your tears as sacred, not shameful? Because every tear that falls is a prayer. Every tear is a memory being released, a burden being lifted, a truth being told. And you don't need to explain your tears to anyone. You don't need to earn the right to cry. You don't need to justify your pain with logic. Your tears don't make you broken. They make you real. Carl Jung once said, "Only the wounded physician heals." Meaning, our pain is not something to hide. It's something that makes us more capable of love, more capable of empathy, more connected. So if you've been holding it all together for too long, if your chest has been heavy with unspoken grief, if your smile has been a mask worn too tightly, let yourself cry. Let the tears fall in the quiet of night, in the stillness of your car, in the middle of a sentence if you need to. And then,
I don't say.
Let yourself feel the strength it takes to stay with your truth. Not run, not numb, not suppress, but simply stay.
I don't say it.
Comment below. My tears are not weakness, they are healing. Let that be your new mantra. Because the more you allow yourself to feel, the more fully you allow yourself to live.
I don't say it.
You are not too sensitive. You are not too much. You are not fragile. You are beautifully, courageously human. Wholeness begins where you stop running from pain. There's a quote by Carl Jung that holds more truth than most people are ready to hear. You cannot become whole by rejecting the painful parts of yourself. Let that settle for a moment. Because most of us were never taught how to hold our pain. We were taught how to avoid it, to silence it, to numb it, to perform over it. From childhood, we hear messages like, be strong, get over it, don't dwell. And we start believing that being okay means never being broken, that success means moving on quickly, that strength means never letting the cracks show. But here's the paradox. Anything else goes to the world of your leader. The more you reject your pain, the further you drift from yourself. And the more you resist what hurts, the tighter it clings to you. Jung called this the shadow. The parts of you that were pushed down, exiled, labeled too much or not enough. But the shadow doesn't disappear. It waits. In dreams. In triggers. In patterns that keep repeating. It waits. To be seen. You see, pain is not your enemy. Pain is a doorway. Think of it like this. A wound is not the end of something. It's the beginning of truth. Behind every ache is a memory. Behind every sadness is a longing. Behind every outburst is a boundary that was never honored. Psychologist Dr. Richard Schwartz, founder of Internal Family Systems Therapy, teaches, every part of you, even the ones you've tried to hide, exists for a reason. And all of them want one thing: to be seen, to be heard, to be welcomed home. So let me ask you honestly, what parts of you have you exiled? Your anger? Your grief? Your insecurity? Your need? Which part of you did someone once call too much, and you've been trying to suppress ever since? And what if that part is the key to your healing? Rumi wrote, the wound is the place where the light enters you, but only if you're willing to stop running from it. Only if you're brave enough to turn inward, sit beside it, and say, I see you. I won't abandon you again. Wholeness doesn't come from chasing the light. It comes from making peace with your shadow. And no, that doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means becoming honest. It means looking at your life and saying, yes, I've been hurt. Yes, I've made mistakes. Yes, I have fears and flaws and scars, and I am still worthy of love. Because your pain is not the opposite of your beauty. It's part of it. We live in a culture obsessed with progress and positivity. But real growth often looks like breaking down. Crying in a parked car. Admitting what you've been avoiding. Comment below. I welcome every part of me, light and shadow. Let that be your daily practice. Let it be your revolution. Because healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were, before the world taught you to hide. And that is how wholeness begins. True strength is allowing yourself to be vulnerable. We've all been told that strength means never falling apart. That courage is about holding it together, no matter what. That if you're doing well, you should be able to smile through the storm, stay productive, stay positive, stay strong. But here's a deeper truth, one we often forget. True strength is not about never breaking down. It's about allowing yourself to be soft, without shame. It's about saying, I'm not okay today, and letting that be enough. Somewhere along the way, we confused resilience with suppression. We believed that being brave meant pretending nothing touches us. But real bravery is intimacy with your own humanity. Carl Jung once said, "You cannot become whole if you reject the painful parts of yourself." And yet, we do it all the time. We dismiss our tears. We apologize for our silence. We minimize our pain. Why? Because we've been conditioned to believe that being emotional makes us weak, especially in a world that praises high performance over deep presence. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to fall apart? Not to fix anything, not to justify it, just to feel, to let your heart breathe without pressure. That kind of honesty is sacred, and it's rare. The truth is, the people who impress me most are not the ones who always seem put together. They're the ones who say, I'm hurting, but I'm here. I'm lost, but I'm listening. I'm scared, but I'm staying present. That is power. That is strength. That is healing. Dr. Brené Brown, who spent 2 decades researching vulnerability, said it beautifully. Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up when you can't control the outcome. And what a radical act that is. To stop performing, to stop hiding behind strength, to sit with your fear, your sadness, your tenderness, and say, this too is part of me, and I don't need to hide it anymore. Maybe we need to reimagine what strength really looks like. It's not about how much you carry, it's about knowing when to put it down. It's not about how loud your voice is, it's about whether it's honest. It's not about never falling. It's about falling and still choosing to love yourself in the process. You see, emotional honesty is not a breakdown. It's a breakthrough. And sometimes, the bravest words you'll ever say are, I need help. I'm not okay. Please just sit with me. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to solve everything. You just have to be with yourself. That's where transformation begins. Pema Chödrön, a Buddhist teacher, that is the quiet revolution we need. More people being real, more people honoring their pain, more people saying this is who I am today, not perfect, not polished, but present. Comment below. I allow myself to be soft. I allow myself to be seen. Let that be your daily act of courage, because strength is not the absence of vulnerability. It's the embrace of it. You are allowed to fall apart. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to say, I'm not okay right now. And when you do, you're not failing. You're healing. Pretending you're always okay is the most exhausting mask of all. There's a mask many of us wear. So often, so automatically, we barely even notice it anymore. It's the mask of, I'm fine. Of, I've got this. Of, don't worry about me. But let's be honest, pretending you're always okay is one of the most exhausting things a human can do. And yet, so many of us do it, every single day. We show up to work smiling. We reply to, "How are you?" with automatic answers. We scroll, we post, we perform, not because we're dishonest, but because we've been taught that being vulnerable makes people uncomfortable. Because somewhere along the way, we absorbed the belief that strength means never letting them see you sweat. But here's the thing. When you spend all your energy proving you're okay, you never get the chance to actually be okay. Carl Jung said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." And it's true. We stay busy. We stay productive. We keep the mask on. But the truth is, healing doesn't come from pretending. Healing comes from honesty, from saying, "I'm not okay right now," from sitting with the discomfort instead of covering it up, from letting someone see the parts of you you've been hiding. You see, when you deny your truth, you deny yourself. When you override your emotions for the sake of appearing functional, you lose touch with your own aliveness. And ironically, the longer you keep performing strength, the weaker and more disconnected you actually feel. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you allowed yourself to fall apart without guilt? When was the last time you stopped being strong long enough to be real? Psychologist Dr. Nicole LePera writes, "True healing happens when we stop performing and start revealing." Your nervous system doesn't need more pressure. It needs permission to rest. And sometimes, that starts with something as simple as telling the truth. Not to everyone. Not on social media. But to yourself. Because you can't heal what you keep pretending doesn't exist. You don't have to be the one who always has it together. You don't have to be the one who fixes everything. You don't have to be the one who says, "I'm fine," when your heart is breaking. You don't have to be the one who says, "I'm fine." You get to say, "I'm tired." You get to say, "I'm overwhelmed." You get to say, "I need a break." And that doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Pema Chödrön reminds us, "Only to the extent that we expose ourselves over and over to annihilation can that which is indestructible be found in us." So maybe the next time someone asks how you're doing, you pause before answering. Maybe you take a breath and tell the truth, even just a piece of it. Because sometimes, just admit. Let that be your declaration. Let that be your return. Because you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present, and if this message resonates with you, there's more waiting in the next chapter. In the next part, we'll explore how true connection only begins when you stop hiding. When you're ready, come join me there.